Do you want more productive employees? In my conversations with leaders and business owners all across the country, one of their number one wishes is a more productive workforce. According to the study that we recently completed, 90% of working Americans believe that if they personally had more happiness and resilience, they would be more productive. And I find this statistic to be fascinating, but actually it proves what I've been working on and what I've been teaching for the last decade. Most business owners, bosses, leaders want me to come in and teach time management, productivity, goal setting, and at the same time, helping people understand that emotional intelligence might be one of the root causes and challenges of their productivity is something that's tricky because bosses and managers don't feel like they're the ones who have to manage that. That said, 90% of working Americans also believe that they would not just be more productive, but more innovative, more willing to be team players, more resilient. And so as leaders, we have to figure out how to find solutions to this challenge and figure out how to have more conversations where we combine emotional intelligence with productivity. Interestingly enough, 90% of working Americans also believe that if the company itself had a culture that was more happy and more resilient, they would be more productive. So we see that individuals would be happier and that if the company was happier, it would increase productivity, which means we've got this two-way street that as leaders and bosses, we've got to come up with solutions to improve that emotional intelligence to increase that productivity. As you think about the different ways that productivity could be increased through happiness and resilience, you can also consider different ways that you can approach these conversations, whether that's in annual meetings, team meetings, one-on-one conversations. How can you help the individuals and employees in your organization find greater productivity through emotional intelligence? Now, you might be saying to yourself, it's so much easier to just teach a time management class. It probably is. But if your employees don't have the emotional wellness necessary to be able to silo that information and apply it into their individual jobs, it won't matter what you teach and train them. So if you start with some levels of emotional intelligence, it might be able to be a better foundation for some of the other conversations that you need to be having. Do we wish that they were learning this in college or in other aspects of their personal lives? 100%. But it's not necessarily part of the curriculum, and it certainly isn't part of conversations that are happening at the levels that need to be had before people are entering the workforce. Add that on top of generations who haven't had this kind of training and the last couple of decades that we've experienced as working Americans, both personally and professionally, and both with challenges happening in the world and within the walls of our own homes. That emotional intelligence piece is critically important. So you can choose. How do you want to handle this education within your workplace? Is it something that you're going to teach and train? Are you going to bring in an outside trainer or coach or speaker to teach and train it? And how are you going to not just have one conversation, but regular conversations that build that foundation over time? 86% of working Americans believe that if they had more happiness and really resilience, not only would they be productive, but they would be more innovative. And I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier, but innovation also is a key to increasing your employee culture. As you improve in both emotional wellness and innovation, you'll find that as they work towards the productivity that you seek, that they will have better ideas, they will be better team players, and they will be more likely to come up with solutions to the problems that are in front of them. All of this feeds the research to help you understand the importance of this kind of training in your workplace. Another statistic that I found interesting in the research is that 81% of working Americans believe that if they had more happiness and resilience, they would be better able to empower others. So if you look at your leadership and those who are responsible for empowering others, we might need to find how we improve happiness and resilience at every level of the organization. It's not just the entry-level employees or those who are just coming through the onboarding process. You might have managers, leaders, directors, and even people in the C-suite who need to find ways to improve their own emotional intelligence so that they can in turn empower others to become the productive employees that they need to be. Now, I know that this sounds like another job. You're already dealing with profit and loss statements, improving production lines, dealing with operations, and figuring out how to improve other aspects of the organization. And it feels like the straw that may break the camel's back. However, What the research shows is actually quite promising. You might not need hours-long detailed training on all the intricacies or details of your organization. You might just need some happiness training and helping them understand how to manage their own emotional levels so that they increase their emotional intelligence and are able to handle the challenges at work and at home. You won't be surprised to find out that the research also shows that the happier people are at work, the happier they are at home. And the reverse is also true. The happier they are at home, the happier they are at work. They are inseparably connected. So the work that you spend will help them not just become better employees, but better humans, which will then in turn improve your culture, improve the organization, improve the mentorship, and improve their productivity. There are lots of resources available for you that we will include in the show notes. If you're just getting started or you're wondering where to start, I hope that you'll look at some of these details so that you can find ways to improve your organization and know that you're not alone. There are lots of resources available that we can provide through our organization or that we can connect you to an organization that is the right fit. But don't give up. And don't just delve out another time management training or goal setting course before you look at the emotional intelligence of your employees. I promise that as you increase the emotional intelligence of your employees, their productivity will naturally increase. Wishing you all the best as you improve your employee engagement. I know this is just one way we can talk about improving different aspects of your corporate culture, so stay tuned for future videos, and we'd love to have you share your thoughts and comments with us. We'll see you next week.